Flo led us through the tunnels, back to places I found familiar. Before I knew it, we were in the same corridor I arrived in, passing by the room where I met Flo for the first time. "Turn left at the end of the corridor," the modified voice said. Flo sprinted on all fours to the fork and turned left. I thought how weird it was to see an undead human gliding across the metallic floors like some excited cat who had just been called to dinner. When we reached our destination, I ran to Sarah and hugged her fiercely. I babbled at her for a minute, and even though I knew she was glad to see me, anxiety bled through and eventually took over her relieved expression. "I'm really glad you're okay, Owen," said Sarah, releasing me from the hug. "I just wish you would have found out about my work in some other way." Eric almost forced himself between us then, and I could smell mint bubblegum on his breath. The loud chewing forced me to distance myself from the two. Funny thing was, I didn't detect jealousy so much as protectiveness. "All right, Eric, relax. He is my husband after all," Sarah said, going over to hug me again. "I know, it's just, you don't know what he's picked up down here. A lot of filth and disease making its way through the tunnels." "That's the most bizarre excuse I've ever heard," Sarah replied. She smiled and shook her head, then the anxiety took over again. "I think we really have to focus here. As I said over Flo's collar, Johan will be back soon. He doesn't know you're here, Owen. He'd probably kill you if he did. He's pretty trigger-happy. Then we should get him out of here. Back through the secret passage. That way, when Johan returns, he'll think everything is normal." At the mention of the secret passage, Sarah blushed. I could tell she felt bad about concealing her second life from me. I mean, in a way, I understood why she did. There was such a dangerous world underneath my house, and she tried to shield me from it. You protect your significant other as best you can. "All right, Eric, you take Owen," Sarah began to say. Then the lights went out. I switched on my flashlight, surveying the room with its tiny beam. It caught something, grey, flesh and angry bloodshot eyes. I heard the screeching sound, a warning. Damn, I'm trying to tap into Flo's collar again. It worked the first time, but something is blocking my signal. "Eric, take Owen through the secret passage." And this time I cut her off. "I'm not leaving you with that monster. Don't argue, you're green and don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're going to lure the creature away from your wife. This isn't the movies, son. Bravery can look like a cowardice at first glance." For some reason, I didn't feel compelled to argue with Eric. Maybe it was his resoluteness in the face of complete terror that swayed me. I realized I was green, far newer to this adrenaline-fueled sense of danger than either Eric or my wife. I thought that opening jars or killing spiders made me the courageous one in the relationship, but I was wrong. "Okay, let's move," Eric whispered. He crouched and motioned for me to imitate him. Then he moved to the entrance of the room, knocking over a glass tube to get Flo's attention. Flo's screeching pierced my ears again. "Remember, Flo, no mercy. Kill." It was BioBee's voice. We managed to lure Flo outside of the room, and Sarah sealed the door. I didn't have time to look back because Flo was right behind us, screeching. I blindly followed Eric from tunnel to tunnel, and I could tell somehow that we were far from our intended destination, the exit that led to my shower. We somehow ended up at the mouth of the tunnel where not even mercenaries dared to go. "We'll stop here for a minute. If we're quiet, we might be able to lose Flo. Capturing her is secondary at the moment. We gotta get out of here before Johan comes back, otherwise you're probably fucked." Eric and I waited for about 20 minutes for the screeches to die down. Just as we were about to head back to the exit passage, I could see Eric's ears twitching. Then, several seconds later, my own reacted. I heard frantic scratching sounds, rabid, then Flo's face. Her collar glowed red, which probably meant BioBee maintained control of her. Her eyes locked on us. Her mission was clear. Flo ran toward us on all fours, and Eric readied his silent pistol. I did the same with mine. I still felt I was clumsily imitating his moves. As Flo got closer, she slowed down, glancing at both of us. "Target E, go," BioB's voice said. Flo lunged at Eric. He fired his pistol without hesitation. A bullet went right through her skull, taking the steam out of her predatory lunge. She fell to the ground on her back, then into the darkness. I wondered at first if Flo was truly dead, because last time she had regenerated. I didn't have much time to consider the possibilities though, since BioB emerged from the shadows. He crouched and fired his pistol at both of us. A few bullets missed as Eric and I moved backward. Then one connected with his lower leg, and he cursed like a sailor. Before I knew what was happening, I was dragging Eric closer to the lip of the tunnel, carefully sticking to the wall so that I didn't fall into the darkness like Flo. Fear pushed me further and further from the known of the tunnels and into the unknown Eric had cautioned me over. I cursed myself quietly and not sure if I would make it to the next several feet. But I did. Then the 10 feet after that. I was deep in the tunnel now, and I could barely see the light coming from the area where BioB remained. I could tell he was hesitating, not sure if he wanted to cross into this treacherous tunnel. As I heard screeching, not sure if it was Flo's or not, I ducked into the first room I encountered, shutting the heavy metallic door. Eric cursed and grabbed his left lower leg. "I'm pretty sure I killed Flo," Eric said. "How can you be sure?" I replied as I turned on my flashlight. I kept it low to the ground, reducing the chance that someone would see us. Dunno, killer's instinct, I guess. Could be wrong. There was scratching at the door. I looked up and saw bloodshot eyes and grey skin, but it didn't look like Flo's face. A man in his mid-40s on the other side of the grave stared at me hungrily. A spiderweb of blood went from his eyes down past his stern jaw. "Don't panic," Eric whispered. "You start to panic, it's all over. Play dead mouse, you hear me? Play dead mouse." I tried to squash my panic to slow my breathing. I turned off the flashlight and both of us were drowned in darkness and the sounds of frantic scratching.